Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is proof the Clippers are secretly fighting a corrupt media. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Please hit that notification bell to ensure that you get the videos when they come out, because sometimes YouTube doesn't send them out. So make sure you hit the notification bell. Also, check out our Dreamerspro Max. It's an online sports community that we created. It's a place where you go and start basketball discussions, chat live during games. We were live just last night again. Consume original content that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else. Be a part of our monthly giveaways that we give away to members every single month, and do so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check it out and get 7 days of free access. We have that linked in the description below. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy. People are signing up left and right. We got some more signups even yesterday, so make sure you check it out. I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, that's in the description below. So let me get into this video today. So I woke up today feeling very good. I was feeling very positive after the Clippers had a very good win last night. It was a late night for me. So I was like, okay, I had some topics in my mind that I was going to cover. Then I opened my phone, right? Just going through my phone or whatever it was. Then I opened up my YouTube, right? I opened up the YouTube. I'm not even sure why I opened up the YouTube app on my phone. And then I see a segment on First Things First. And they're there talking about the Clippers. And they have, I saw Chris Broussard on the thumbnail. So I said, okay, let me see what they're going to say. Okay, they're talking about the Clippers. The Clippers had a very, very impressive win last night. And I open up the video and I start playing the video. And what I heard the panel saying, what I heard in the first few, let's say the first minute or two, was absolutely mind-blowing what I heard. So before I go into what they said, I want you guys to take a listen to Nick Wright's segment, who started off the segment when they asked him about the win that the Clippers had against the Milwaukee Bucks last night, and what his thoughts were about that win. Take a listen to what Nick Wright had to say in that soundbite.
Paul George didn't matter. They got 20 or more points from 4 of their 5 starters. Big contributors. LA wins big, 129-105. Did you hear what I said? 129-105. There's a score. Nick Wright, did last night tell you more about the Clippers or the Bucks? Bang.
To me, this was more about the Clippers, but not in the way I think most people are going to expect it to have been. But it's a great win for them. It's an outstanding win for them. And I know what I'm about to say here is going to be a little counterintuitive, but I think, maybe I'm wrong, I think Broussard might actually end up agreeing with me on it. So last night, if you didn't watch the game, why'd the Clippers win? Well, they won because they shot over 50% from 3. Most notably, they had Marcus Morris, Patrick Peterson, and Luke Kennard combined to go 12 of 17 from 3. Just couldn't miss. And you might say, oh, okay, that happens.
Yeah.
Here's why last night was instructive to why I'm concerned about the Clippers. That's been happening to them all year at an unsustainable rate. Broussard, did you know the highest scoring team in the NBA is not the Brooklyn Nets? It's the Clippers. And more instructively, the best three-point shooting team in NBA history, better than any of the Warrior teams, better than the Suns teams of the 2000 aughts, is this year's Clippers team. 7 of their 9 rotation players are shooting career bests from 3. And so there's 2 ways to look at it. One way is, this is the best offense in basketball. The defense has come around as of late. And because of that, this is a far more dangerous team than they were last year. The other way to look at it is, do we really think that Reggie Jackson is going to shoot 44% from 3 in the playoffs? Do you really think Marcus Morris is going to shoot better than Steph Curry ever has in a playoff run in the playoffs? I don't. And so last night, to me, was another example of them, as they've done through the first 50, 45 games of the season or whatever, shooting lights out and looking great because of it. That, to me, is so clearly and obviously not sustainable that it's concerning for me if they don't continue the uptick on defense that we've seen over the last few weeks that has taken them from the low teens to around 11th or 12th in the league on the defensive side.
So in that soundbite, Nick Wright starts off, instead of congratulating the team, instead of saying, listen, the team is doing very well and all these different things, Nick Wright somehow finds a way to skirt the success of the team and find a way to criticize the team. Only Nick Wright can watch a game like that from a team that was clearly undermanned and find a reason to say why he's worried about the Clippers, right? Almost everything that he spoke about was wrong. First of all, he spoke about their three-point shooting. Like as if it's some type of aberration, like it's some new, like it's an anomaly. You know, the Clippers are leading the league in three-point shooting and all, this and this and this. Will they be able to sustain it? Nick, how can that be your question when the team has played about 46 games or 47 games? They're leading the league in three-point shooting. They're the number one three-point shooting team in the NBA, shooting over 41% from the three. And you're asking the question of whether or not they can sustain it when they've been doing it for about roughly 50 games? I can understand if they had a hot stretch or they had a hot month, but they've been doing this for the entire season. And one of your first talking points is you're worried about whether or not they can continue shooting like this. But in typical Nick Wright fashion, because he's so transfixed on undermining the Clippers and always finding a way to give it up to LeBron. That's what it's always. Let's just be honest. Nick Wright is going to find every single way to undermine anybody that he feels like can be in some type of competition to LeBron. That's all it is. Let's just call a spade a spade. That's exactly what it is all about with this man. He then goes to state the next point, wrongly saying that the Clippers are the number one scoring team in the NBA. No, they're not, Nick. But since your arguments are always so convoluted and you're sitting there so trying to figure out ways of how you can criticize this team and undermine them, you overlook that. The Nets are the number one scoring team in the NBA. They're scoring 119 points per game. Just go look this up. The Clippers are the number 6 team in the NBA as far as scoring. They're scoring 115.3 points per game. Nick would know this if he did the research. Again, for those of you people that feel that Nick Wright's smart, good luck to you guys. A lot of you guys feel like this guy's smart because he's wearing a suit and he sounds intelligent. There are a lot of guys that read a lot of books that say a lot of stupid things. Nick Wright is in one of those categories there. So he says that the Clippers are the number one scoring team in the NBA when they're not. They're not even the number one scoring team in the NBA. Anybody knows this. All you have to do is hunt this information down. The NBA.com, they update their website every single night. Go hunt that information down. The Nets are the number one shooting team, scoring team in the NBA, and they're the number 2 3-point shooting team. So that's Nick Wright for you. So he was trying to paint some picture that I don't understand what he was trying to, the picture he was trying to paint, given the fact that his facts were off to begin with. But I think that Nick Wright, the fact that he came out and said that he's worried about the Clippers on whether or not they're going to be able to sustain that level of performance, I think is a joke and I think is disgusting, to be quite honest with you. Here's a team that played against a very good Milwaukee Bucks team without Paul George, Rajon Rondo, Serge Ibaka, and Patrick Beverley, and still won the game. And at the end of that game, all you could come up with is that you're concerned about the Clippers' three-point shooting. What universe is Nick Wright living in? Where did I didn't even play Chris Broussard's segment because they later on started to talk about, somehow the conversation ended up on, what if Kawhi Leonard left the Clippers to play for the Miami Heat? What? How did they reach that conclusion? Instead of Nick Wright being worried about the Lakers that he supports, who are the number 21 team in the NBA in offense and scoring, the Lakers are scoring 110 points per game and trying to figure out a way for how they're going to be able to outscore the Brooklyn Nets. Instead, he's sitting there worrying about the number 1 3-point shooting team in the NBA, who's been the number 1 3-point shooting team all season long. He's worried about whether or not they're going to be able to sustain it. Like, my question is, where do these guys come up with these uninformed, convoluted opinions and takes? Where do they get this stuff from? How is it possible that they were able to come up with this type of analysis? How did they reach that conclusion, right? Then I was watching the game. We're going to do another video on Terrence Mann. If Nick was watching the game, which I don't know if he was, I don't know what Nick Wright was doing when that game was going on. How is it possible that you made no mention of the fact of how well their sophomore player Terrence Mann is playing? But let that have been THT from the Lakers. Let that have been him. He would have been saying, oh, I think this guy's going to be the next coming of Kobe Bryant. That's Nick Wright for you. No objective analysis. He always has an angle with his analysis. Yesterday, we did a video we did a live stream on the Lakers and the Nets. I sat there and I gave a fair critique of that acquisition by the Lakers and the Nets, and I said that the Lakers, I believe, is still one of the top teams in the Western Conference. I said that's what you call objectivity. I'm not sucking anybody off by saying no. That y'all can do that. That group of people that walk around with those knee pads on, I'm not joining you with that. Like some people want you to go the extra mile, which I won't. You have Nick Wright and others for that. I can give you a fair critique. If the Lakers are doing well, I'll say it. And I said they're doing well. I said they got better. But Nick Wright can't. He can't bring himself to be objective about anybody else except LeBron and the Lakers. And to me, I think it's a shame. You have that platform and you go up there and you're not saying intelligent things. How is it possible that at the end of all of that, you're talking about, oh, you're worried about the Clippers? How? How can you be worried about a team that was shorthanded by 3 starters, or 4, whatever you want to call him? Patrick Beverley was a starter. We don't know, whatever. Let's say 4 starters. They just beat the Milwaukee Bucks, and you're talking about you're worried about the Clippers? How did you reach that conclusion? So for me, listen, I don't even know what to think anymore. This is why I can't take these guys seriously. These guys are not, let me tell you something. These guys are not, just because you read a lot of books doesn't mean you're smart, my friend. You can read as many books as you want, put as much information in your head as you want. But if you can't interpret that information and make sense of it and say intelligent things, you're still dumb. Just in case some people didn't know. Some people are kind of like, fascinated about some people that talk, they sound smart. Oh, wow, look at the way he puts up words again. Look at his vocabulary. Yeah, but what is he saying? What is arguments? What is arguments? It's not by who has the largest vocabulary, that's who's smarter. There are people that don't have large vocabulary, but that make very, very sound points. Nick Wright, for all of the vocabulary that he has, all of his points never make any sense. All of those big words always end up translating into a bunch of rubbish and nonsense. Consistently. Go through that game last night. If you watched the game, how is it possible that was the conclusion that you were able to arrive at? That the Clippers have problems? What? So listen, sometimes I kind of, and you know what? This is one of the reasons why I want the Clippers to win. I'm just being honest with you. It's not even from a fan perspective. That's not even it. Let me be upfront with you. I want them to win just to shut these guys up. Like, it's enough. That's why I want this team to win. This is the reason. Like, just to see these guys come on TV and say, listen, we were wrong, even though it's something I know they won't do. Even though it's something I know they won't do. Now Shannon Sharpe has a new one. If the Lakers beat the Nets, LeBron is better than Jordan. How? Is LeBron playing by himself? Jordan played. Guys, for those people, Jordan played with one Hall of Famer. Two Hall of Famers for his entire career. He won 6 titles with 2 Hall of Famers. Clowns out there will tell you, oh, but Jordan, look at the teams that he played. Look at these teams. Although Jordan was beating 60-win team in the final, but look at the teams that he played. But when LeBron beat the number 5, Miami Heat last year when they were on demand, I didn't hear you guys talking then. Why does it only work when it's in your favor? The same thing you're going to hold against Jordan is the same thing you're going to prop up your guy. I mean, come on. You guys are a joke when it comes to this thing. But now Jordan, how? It's not even fun. I was arguing with somebody in the comment section talking about Jordan. LeBron is overall player. How? Jordan is a better scorer, better defender. That's already happened. Those are 2 sides of the ball. More clutch. So you're talking about, they're going to tell you, but who hit more go-ahead, the buzzer beaters for the entirety of their career, including regular season games? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? It wasn't even close as defenders. Jordan and LeBron are not even, they're in 2 different universes. If we're talking about defense, they're in 2 different universes. LeBron is a great help defender. Jordan was a fantastic on the ball defender. If you know basketball, you would understand this. If you don't, you'd be sitting there being confused. He's a great on the ball defender. Jordan led the league in steals like 3 times. What are y'all talking about? He has a defensive player of the year. He's been on 9 all-first defensive teams. What are you saying? What are you saying? Like, Jordan is a way better defender. Offense, we're not even going to mention it. He's light years ahead. Some people go, but this guy This guy has, what do you call it? Yeah, this guy has, he has more points. Let me tell you something. If somebody keeps getting left back in school and has been in high school for like 6-7 years, obviously this guy's going to have more experience than the other guy. Maybe he's going to know more people. LeBron's been playing longer. Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Jordan has 10 scoring titles. 10! Has the highest playoff average. Has the highest average in the regular season. What are we talking about? He's a better overall player. What are y'all talking about? And it's the Nick Wrights of the world that are encouraging this nonsense. And yesterday or today is just another example of why these guys are terrible at what they do. They're terrible. They're not good. I'm sorry to say they're not good. I'm a very, very objective person. I process information as I'm listening to it. Most of the time that I'm listening to, I'm not even watching their face. I'm just, internalizing and processing and say, okay, what are they saying? Is it making sense? Is it making sense? And most of the time, Nick Wright never makes any sense. At least when it comes to basketball. He never makes any real sense. Never. If you sit back and go through the logic of his arguments, they never make any sense. It's a joke. So, guys, sorry that I went off, but I had to get that off my chest. Like, enough. Like, these guys are disgusting with their analysis. It makes no sense how bad they are when it comes to giving some honest, object takes. They are horrible. Sorry to say, but that's what I think. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode.